Hello everybody, welcome to right in front of my front door. I am sat here because today we are going to be undergoing a project I am so excited to learn how to do. I don't know how to do this. So there's gonna be trial and error here, but I am going to be putting in the glass panes into these windows currently, which are covered with plastic. So a couple of videos ago, I shared with you guys that I am in the middle of a restoration and repair of my front door. So this happened because one of my resolutions for this year is to fix the front face of my house. This is in this larger goal of restoring and repairing the outside of my house. Basically what I've decided to do as a strategy is to fix one side of the house every year. So in 4 years, I will hopefully have fixed the whole outside of the house. So for year one, I thought, let's start with the front. And that included fixing this rotted foundational beam in one corner of the house. So I hired a carpenter to help me fix it. Once we started looking into it, we realized that the rot ran all the way under the front door, and that the front door was going to have to be removed. And if I ever wanted it to be restored, this would be the perfect time to do it. So I agreed, which I didn't see coming. I knew eventually one day I would want to do this, but sometimes these things just appear and you gotta go with the flow. It's been at least 2 weeks of having just a plywood covering here, maybe closer to 3 weeks. And so it was only literally yesterday that the door got reinstalled. There's a lot of missing little bits, things that need to be finished still. So he has at least 1 or 2 more days of work to get it back to finished. He would totally put these window panes in for me. However, I've decided to undergo this project because one, I'm very anxious about my cat. I don't want her to escape. This is one of my top anxieties in life, is Max escaping. So I put these plastic coverings over top, but of course she's a cat. She could just like slice it and jump through. So at night we put, how loud that car was because there's no glass here. At night, we put some cardboard coverings over top here as well. But I just thought, you know, I could just do the glass on the bottom couple of panes here. Like that would be fine. And then I thought, if I'm at it, why not just save myself a day of paying a carpenter and do it all myself? So that's what we're doing. Of course, all good projects start with a trip to the hardware store. And so let's start with a haul. Before we begin, however, I am so excited to introduce today's sponsor. Thank you so much to ThredUp for sponsoring this video. I love ThredUp and I'm so excited to be teaming up with them again. The first thing I picked was this gorgeous high quality leather coach belt. This is one of the things that is so phenomenal to do with thrifting. Finding a high quality leather good, because I don't want to support the leather industry, but leather is great quality and there's so much of it out there waiting to just be reused instead of thrown away. My go-to look right now is a pair of jeans that I love and a button-up shirt. And I got a new button-up shirt that I'm thrilled about and a pair of new jeans as well. This shirt retailed for $2.29 and I got it for $27.30. I think the item I'm the most excited about though is this blazer from Nasty Gal, which I've never bought anything from that brand before, but I saw this blazer and I was obsessed with it because this is what spring is about for me, a light jacket. This blazer retailed for $2.48 and I got it for $32.99. Another great thing about shopping secondhand is participating in trends. Trends are fun, but not if they hurt the planet. I've been noticing how cute ballet flats are looking on people, but I lived through a ballet flats era. They're really uncomfortable. They only work for certain times of year. So it's fun to participate in a trend, but it's so nice to do it in a guilt-free way where you're not adding stuff to the planet. You're just using from this giant library of stuff that is already available to us. I love shopping on ThredUp. I always have a great time. So if you want to check it out and get some new items for spring without burdening the planet, use my code Ariel to get 35% off your first order plus free shipping. Thank you again so much to ThredUp for sponsoring this video. Let's start with a haul. First up, I got a bunch of these stir sticks. I love a stir stick and I need them all of the time. So I bought a bunch of those. I don't even know if I need one for this project, but whenever I see them or walk past them, I'm like, yes. Next up, I got paint thinner. This is because on one of the YouTube videos I was watching, the guy was saying that like cleaning, the next item that I got, in between panes and stuff with paint thinner is like the best method. Next up, I did get a little spatula. I have a couple of these in the back, but all of them I haven't taken good care of and kept clean enough. And all of the videos kept emphasizing you're going to want a really clean one to get really nice edges. Next up, I got these glazier points. I don't know if this is necessary. I've seen my dad install window panes before. He never used these. A lot of the videos I watched with tutorials didn't use these, but one or two of the videos I watched did. And I saw them at the shop when I was getting, I don't know, one of these things. And I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna grab them because I can imagine them being helpful, and I would hate to like start the process and then want them. I can always return them. Then I got this little foam, this tiny little foam brush. They become dumb expensive if you're just buying one-offs. It's like $1 or $2 per thing. My tip is to just buy like a multi-pack for like $5, sometimes at the dollar store, like wherever I see them, you can buy these foam things for pretty cheap. And then I got the most important part, the glazing. This is the putty. This is the substance that is going to hold everything in place. I also got two other things, I just realized. I bought this under door seal, U-shape vinyl, and a very similar, what are they calling this? Door top and side kit. The reason that I got these two things is because this is my chance to like properly finish this section. And in the winter, a lot of heat is lost through here and has been lost through here. And the carpenter is going to make sure that things get really tight and good, but I know I can also help out with that. So I got this one. I'm gonna try it out and we'll see. If I hate it, there were other ones and I can return this. But I do want to, while I'm at this, just do this properly. You know, finish this off so that I'm never thinking about working on this door again. I have all of the things that I need. It is simply time to start. So there is one thing I have to do before I actually start putting the glass in, and it's figuring out how I'm going to stain this putty. So I couldn't find any putty that wasn't white, and that's fine. I'm going to have to do something to it though, so that it blends in better with all of the beautiful wood that is making up the door. And I have two ideas. So the first idea is simply to stain the putty itself. So I'm just gonna put a piece, like a little bit of putty on this wood, and I'm gonna try staining it. And then the other thing I'm gonna do is grab a little piece of putty, and I'm gonna try blending stain into the mixture itself. My worry with that is twofold. One, I'd have to keep doing that throughout the process. And two, what if the stain like changes the composition of the putty and then it doesn't harden properly? So I'm definitely hoping that it just will take some stain. It doesn't have to be that much, like it just has to blend in a little bit more than the starkness of the white. But let me grab the stain. This is what I bought that foam brush for. I'm really hoping that I can just stain all the putty at the end because that would be so much easier. So here is our tester of will it stain? Stain is really different from paint. I did not realize this when I first started working with stain. I thought it was similar to paint, like it goes on top, but it does not. That's the big difference between stain and paint. Stain absorbs into the wood and truly stains the material. Paint sits on top of the wood and creates a new layer of material, so you're not seeing what's underneath. It mixes in well. I guess the question is, will it dry well? I wouldn't imagine it would make that much of a difference. Like, I bet you it would dry. But you can see here, I'll grab a little bit of the white to put next to it. You can see the difference that that makes. That would blend in so much nicer. So that is good. Let's give this a couple of minutes and then I'll dry it off, because like I was saying, stain cannot just sit on the material. You need to wipe it away. The stain that is sitting on top isn't doing anything. It's just gumming everything up. You need to be able to wipe away any excess stain. The stain that is doing something is the stain that's already absorbed into the material. Here is our moment of truth. Dollop that off. It looks kind of gross, like it looks like gum. If I wipe it off, it becomes really streaky with the white underneath. So I don't think that that is going to be a winning method. I think that we should go with the top method. I think it just looks so much nicer. We have a plan of action. Let's do it. It's time. We're at the point in every project where I'm like, I guess I just do it now. There's nothing for it. Stop stalling, start going. This glove got quite gnarly. Okay, I am able to roll it with just my hands. Maybe I'm just gonna have to get stain covered hands. Okay, it's not pretty at all, but it is covered and I should be able to push the pane of glass into it. Here we go. Okay, that's awesome. Very satisfying to squidge that in there. I do see a couple spots that I could have had better coverage on, but for my first pane, seems pretty good to me. Okay, I think I am gonna do a test patch with white. So this is it white. Okay, that's really interesting. I'm able to easily roll it out. Oh God. And then pretty easily. Oh, that's so much easier. Okay, it's like hilariously easier because it hasn't been watered down. I think because there's so many of these to do that I'm going to be better off just doing them in white and then either staining them afterwards or painting them. Decision made. Because yeah, this is like, it feels like it's like 8 times faster to do it this way. So I do feel like I've massively over puttied it, but now it's time to try this out. Okay. In some ways that went really well. In other ways it didn't. It didn't like stick to that side. Yeah, it's like pulling off of the wood side. Not only did the camera go out of focus, it also then died. But I just kept at it, and sometimes it's better to do things without a camera watching you. I changed the battery, I put the camera inside the house, and I just kept working at it for a few hours. Slowly figuring out exactly what I was doing. Hello everyone, it is quite a bit later. I think we started doing glass around like 1 and it's now 6. So it's taking me a lot longer than I hoped. I guess I always hope things will go quickly, of course, but it's enjoyable. It's not very frustrating. There was one terrible moment, I will admit. I broke one of the panes. It was it was so sad to break it because I had fully installed it. Like I was just doing this last thing and I thought I would try one of those little metal grippy guys. And I pushed it in and it cracked this glass, so I had to redo it. I also took that as an opportunity to test what staining the white will look like since I am going with the putty in the original color. That didn't work, so I think I'm just gonna paint it, and I'm totally okay with that because the original glazing on the windows was also painted, which just shows me other people have had this struggle before, and that's just the thing you do, you paint glaze. From the inside, it looks perfect because I've been making sure, like walking in and out to make sure that you can't really see the glazing that's on the outside cutting through, so I'm cutting it sharp enough. But on the outside it probably looks a little amateur, but I don't think it looks too amateur because I was looking at like other windows in the house and I'm like, no, this is just what glazing looks like. And obviously, as I'm getting better, they are becoming sharper and prettier, but I think it's going well. So I just finished this first window, so that's 8 panes. I will say the first 2 windows probably took me an hour each, and then the rest of them went pretty quickly. After that, I also had to run back to the hardware store. I had to do some other stuff, but I think it looks really good. And now it just needs to dry, and I'm going to make dinner and then start on the second one. By this point, I had figured out a system. So I'm not saying this is a tutorial, but I am just going to say this is what I was doing. I started off by coating the frame with the stained putty. Because it was slightly looser, it was way easier to fill in all of these crevices with. And then I would go in and push the glass into place, making sure that it was really snug in there. This was the most satisfying part, but there was also some problems, like sometimes the panes wouldn't fit. These are really old windows, so they weren't 100% even, and thankfully some of the pieces of glass were a little bit shorter or a little bit longer or a little bit wider, so I had to try a bunch of pieces in different spots to make them fit. And on the last pane, I actually ended up having to shave off some of the frame to sneak it in there, and finally it fit. Then I go in with the white untouched putty, roll it up, and then push it into place. And I know that I'm using way too much, but as a beginner, this was the only way I could do it. After that, I would push the putty into place to make it all more solid. And then the hardest part of the whole ordeal, shaving the whole thing. This looks easier than it is. So basically, I just have to push with the correct amount of pressure at the correct angle, slicing down, making sure that the angle is consistent, to compact the putty into place, but also to create nice lines. This is where the paint thinner saved me. This is very similar to caulking lines, where if you use a bit of water, it makes everything so much easier. By cleaning my spatula in between every cut with the paint thinner, it made everything glide so much more smoothly. After that, I would go inside and I would clean up all of the putty that had pushed into the inside. This was really easy because there's not much. And at the same time, I'm checking if any of the putty lines on the outside, if the glazing was too wide of a line and I could see it from the inside. And if so, I would go back outside and readjust that line. So I just have to do that for 4 sides of 16 panes. Ooh-wee! We find ourselves at the end of the night. It is 9:02, and I just finished doing 4 more of the panes on the right-hand side. So I did the entire left-hand side window and the bottom 4 on the right side. What this means is that one of my goals was accomplished, which was to make sure that my cat Max can't jump out in the middle of the night. So that's done. And the second goal I actually did accomplish as well, which was I learned how to glaze a window. By the last one that I did before packing it in, I felt like I knew what was going on. And it's one of those things that you just can't get good at unless you practice it. So I know that I'm just gonna have to keep doing it over and over and over to make those seams just smaller and tighter. But I think I did a good job. So that is another skill accomplished. I feel so grateful to this house, if you will allow me a moment of sincerity. I feel so grateful to this house for how much it's teaching me. It presents so many challenges, but instead of feeling scared or like worried about it, I just see them all as these really exciting learning opportunities where I'm like, I now know how to glaze a window. The next time that a window pane gets smashed in this house, the last time it was my mom by accident, she rolled the garbage can right into the window and it just totally cracked. The next time that happens, I know exactly what to do. Also, I will link down below some of the videos that I watched that helped me figure out how to do this, because that is another thing. It kind of does make me feel emotional. Probably the number one source of how I've learned to do things in this house is through my dad. He's a real Renaissance man and like knows how to do so many things, and I always know I can ask him. But outside of that, the number two is YouTube videos. And it makes me emotional to kind of be a part of the YouTube world where I find so much value watching these videos of just random people around the world who are like, I know how to glaze a window, so I'm gonna make a YouTube video so that anyone else can figure it out too. Anyways, I'll shut up now. We did it. It's the next day and I spent a couple hours. Well, really, I think I did 4 panes in 1 hour. It's amazing what confidence will do. Like yesterday when I started out, I was so trepidatious, trying to figure out, didn't know what was going on. And then today I woke up, I was like, I know how to do this. And I was so quickly able to do 4 panes and finish off the second window. So obviously I didn't do the top transom window. I never planned to. My mom was like, weren't you going to do that? And I was like, no, I just wanted to do these 2. But I guess I could do that other one if I need to. I ended up not installing the weather strips on the top and sides and bottom of this door because I realized like pieces are still not attached. And so I don't want to be screwing things in when other pieces might move and then it won't be weather sealed anymore. So I'm going to wait until the carpenter finishes everything before doing those. But I ended up really enjoying this project. It's so funny because I just never know with house things. Like wallpapering, not that fun. Glazing windows, not too bad. I would totally do that again, especially like yesterday was such a sunny, warm day and just spending time outside. The black flies started to get pretty annoying in the evening, but other than that, it was a nice, calm activity. Really not that challenging, so I would totally recommend doing it yourself. Thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you so much to ThredUp for sponsoring. I feel so lucky to be working with them, so definitely check them out. They're linked down in the description. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.